Hello, my name is Gray.
And my name is Crystal.
And this is Best Asian Beauties, the supernatural commentary podcast where I, someone who has seen this show several times,
And I, someone who only knows the show through social media, discuss every single episode of Supernatural from start to finish. Also, we are both Asian.
both Asian. For today's episode, we will be discussing Season 2, Episode 18, Hollywood Babylon. Written by Bed Edlund, directed by Phil Segretia.
Oh, I hate that, Edlund.
Why? According to Crystal, this is allegedly a bad episode, but...
Okay, he clearly despises Sam.
That is true. Sam
Between
literally
this
has
and
won.
Night Shifter, Sam shows up and he's like, I've been working the case, I broke into the morgue, and the whole time all we've seen is Dean wearing headphones, you know?
It's so funny because Sam literally has one good line this entire episode.
But it's the best line of the episode.
That's true. Like, he gave Sam the best line and then dipped.
Yeah.
Okay, just before we do our usual thing, I want to say this is episode 18 of season 2.
I would love to have some plot related to season 2 here. That'd be great to see.
I mean, it makes sense back in season 1 when, you know, the entire plot of the show is like, we're waiting for John to appear.
Yeah.
For John to appear in the last few episodes. But even then, they were building up to it in some way in the episodes prior. Mm-hmm. This one, it really feels like when the plot hits, it's gonna be so out of the fucking blue.
Yeah.
So
where's Ava? Ava's been missing since...
Yeah!
For how long has Ava been missing? She's been missing since episode 10. They looked for her for a bit and they were like, eh.
Literally, they do not care about Ava at this point anymore at all. They just accepted that she's fucking dead or something.
I guess so. Bring Ava back. Also, where's Max Miller? Weren't they gonna, no, not Max Miller. Andy. That guy. He has a name. Weren't they gonna keep an eye on him? Where is he?
It's weird because they front-loaded the plot, right?
Yeah.
And then they had the reveal that, like, Dean was bound to kill Sam or something. Mm-hmm. And then after that, nothing. Like, nothing has happened. All they've done is, like, allude to the fact that Dean has to kill Sam. And then nothing else. It's just, come on. Can we go back to the plot, please?
Right,
Can we go back to the
what
plot?
about the part where Sam's gonna become, like, a warrior for hell or whatever? Like, are you all not looking into that? I thought Ellen was gonna look into that. Aren't you fighting a war? What happened to the war?
It's so funny because Meg comes back and she's like, no, this is not plot relevant. Like, don't even think about it.
Yeah, if you think for a fucking second that we're going to do overarching plot anytime before episode goddamn 20 of this 22 episode season, you are a clown and a jokester. This is purely for personal reasons.
Exactly. I especially during this episode, it hit me so hard that, like, the purpose of a TV show, first and foremost, especially during this time of the making of a TV show, is to fill up time in television.
Yeah. Right. It's to create breaks from the ads.
Exactly. And it's so felt in this episode, and probably this entire season as well. Like, this is all to fill up time. Nobody here is telling a story. Well, I mean, some people are telling stories. I think there's a story that's happening, and I quite like it, but it's very sparse, you know. Anyway, So now that that's done, Crystal, what did you know about this episode before you watched it?
I knew that there was a case taking place on a film set and that they were undercover and that Dean was going to work as a PA and have his little headset on and generally seemed to like his job there. And then I knew about the ending shot where they're like walking off into the sunset, but it's like a set piece because it's been used in a lot of AMVs.
Yeah. You may or may not notice, but like in season 15, episode 19, there's a montage, right?
Yes.
Like it's like at the end of the plot part of the episode, they're like, okay, let's do a montage before the actual finale.
Yeah.
And the montage ends. Well, does it end with this? Or is it the trailer for the next episode ends with this? And like I remember there's
shot?
It ends with the sunset shot, yeah.
Oh.
And I remember a lot of hubbub about like, why are they doing this? Like, are they gonna go meta for the last episode? Like, you know, like, are they gonna whatever, like they're walking into a sunset, but it's a fake sunset and it's like not actually a happy ending. And there's like a lot of hubbub about that. And then the last episode aired and everyone was like, fuck it, who cares?
I mean, they're right, it wasn't actually a happy ending.
I mean, they're right. But like, who fucking
happy
cares?
for me a little bit, maybe, but...
Literally, I hate Supernatural ending so much, it's unreal. But, now that that's done, let's get into the actual episode. So we start in a house and there's a woman and she's walking around with a flashlight calling for her friends. It's, you know, a typical...
Did you know immediately that it was going to end with a director saying cut?
I've watched this episode recently.
That's true.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know. I think it was one of those times where I was bored and I was like, oh, hey friends, what should I watch? Episode of Supernatural should I watch or something? And of course the Dean girls were like, watch Hollywood Babylon or something.
Boo.
And I did. And so I know pretty much everything that happens in this episode beat for beat.
Okay, yeah.
So no surprises for
I
me.
knew, like, immediately that it was going to end in cut, so I was just, like, waiting.
Yeah.
Like, stop drawing it out, you guys. Like, we get it. Like, you were making them bad actors on purpose. Like, it's too clear already what you're planning to do at the end of this.
She's such a bad actor too. Like, it's so fucking funny.
Brody's a way worse actor, though. Every time he was like, I'm leaving! Like, and stomping his feet, standing in the exact same place.
Exactly. But anyway, yeah, like Crystal said, it ends with a scream shot and the camera is like pointed at her face and it's a film set. And her scream is very bad. She's having a very tough time acting. And then the director goes, cut! And then, you know, they cut. Anyway, some relevant things that happen in this scene. Someone hands her water, and that guy is gonna be relevant later. And the director is like telling her to level up the screaming or whatever. So she goes to the side to practice her screaming some more. But before that, she ends up in conversation with this guy who is part of the sound set. And he's saying that, oh, this place is creepy. I think the stage is haunted for realsies. And I get creeped out sometimes. I feel like someone's watching me. So all that shit. And then she's like, haha, isn't that so funny? Anyway, she goes out to the side to practice. And then she hears a noise. She looks up. The guy that she was talking to is on the ceiling dead. And quite a brutal looking shot, right? Like,
yeah, he's, like, hanging from the rafters and, like, dripping blood down. Like, he looks fucked up.
exactly. And she screams this time, and her scream is better than her previous screams. And we go to the director in the distance who just hears this and assumes she's practicing and goes, "Now that's what I'm talking about." Ugh.
Yeah, though, as we learn later, he probably didn't think that she was practicing.
Yeah. They were like intentionally fucking with her head. Yeah.
Yeah, in order to get more publicity. And also, I think the audio for the scream in the trailer for the movie we see later is from that.
So they recorded it, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so, yeah, it was like a setup so that they could get the audio and also get more publicity for the film.
Jesus.
What a fucked up thing to do.
Love that.
So, we're at Warner Bros. Studios, where Dean is on this trolley taking a tour, and we hear like a tour guide over the intercom talking, and Dean turns to his side and says, "Hey, do you know this is where they filmed Creepshow?" And you think it's Sam, like he's just sitting with Sam talking to him, but then the camera pans over, and he's talking to some poor random kid eating an ice cream cone who's like, stranger danger, and like just looks at Dean weird.
Later on, he says goodbye to the kid when he hops out of the car. And he's like, he fully believes that he has made a friend with this kid.
That this kid is his best friend, and he just let him go.
He fully believes that he has made a friend in the middle of this fucking town. And the kid is literally just out here eating ice cream. It's so funny.
God. Yeah. So, right. And then we have the tour guide say, like, here's, like, the setting for the TV show Gilmore Girls. And the camera cuts to Sam sitting in the row in front of Dean. And, you know, it's a joke about how Jared Padalecki used to play Dean on Gilmore Girls.
Haha, yeah.
Haha. Right, because the tour guide continues, if we're lucky, we might even catch one of the show's stars.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about Gilmore Girls other than the straight girls in my life watch it. And they seem to be having fun, so good for them.
Yeah, my coworker who said that she watched Supernatural in middle school
Watches Gilmore
Girls and enjoys it.
Is the reason why she watched Gilmore Girls?
I don't think it's because of Jared Padalecki. I think it was just that Gilmore Girls is popular. Plus, I'm pretty sure Dean as a character in Gilmore Girls and also in Supernatural is a total dick. So, like, and framed as one in Gilmore Girls. So I feel like you wouldn't, like, a Jared Padalecki fan would not follow that over necessarily. I don't know. I don't understand the minds of Jared Padalecki fans. Yeah, so Sam tells Dean that they should get off the tour and do some work, and he, like, hops off. And Dean's like, oh no, I want to finish the tour, but then eventually does get off. And as you mentioned, he says bye to the ice cream kid. Yeah, Dean thinks that there's that Matt Damon is nearby. But Sam says that that's a janitor. Do you think Dean's like a Matt Damon fan? What was Matt Damon even in by 2007?
I have no idea. I actually looked up
this man's IMDb page.
I looked up Matt Damon because is he a popular guy? All I know him from is the Mars movie.
Oh, yeah, The Martian? Yeah, I think he's pretty well known because he was in Good Will Hunting, which is considered a classic.
Okay, got it.
But the main thing I know him from is, like, that, like, Great Wall movie where he's some white guy in China or whatever, and everyone being like, I don't want this to exist, shut up.
Yeah. I have not seen that movie, but I have seen a comedy bit of that movie. From, what's his name? That guy who starred in the movie where it's like Love Actually / Die Hard, and it's called Love Hard.
Fucking Jimmy O. Young. Fuck that guy. God, Love Hard sucked. Let's make our outtake about how bad Love Hard was.
I love Love Hard. Like, I'd love to watch it and hate on it. Literally, it's so funny. Like,
So bad.
If you're a Ko-fi subscriber of BabPod, the same day that we're releasing this episode, we're also gonna be releasing an outtake where we just dunk on Love Hard. So watch out for that.
My dad is so manly, he won't understand that I make candles. So he was also in Ocean's 13, which is well known, right?
I only know the girl version of that one.
Yeah, same. Yeah, whatever. I think he's famous for something. Yeah, I think Dean wanted to fuck Matt Damon.
Good for him.
Yeah. So they go... Okay, so Sam keeps pushing for them to do work stuff, and Dean keeps going that I wanted to come to LA for a vacation because of the swimming pools and movie stars. And Sam says, this seem like swimming pool weather to you, Dean? I mean, it's practically Canadian. And
Wait,
of course, supernatural films in Canada. What?
No, I get the joke is that they film in Canada, so it's like, haha. Mm-hmm. But, like, isn't LA notoriously, like, not rainy? It's
Yeah,
right?
it's not rainy. It's very mild weather.
Oh, yeah. Hollywood is not a rainy place. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that from fucking Good Mythical Morning of all places.
Oh, yeah. Right. So, I mean, this is like the second meta joke so far, right? Which
There's
makes
a lot
sense
of it
given
this
the
episode.
content of this episode. Yeah. Then Edlund wanted to have some fun.
Yeah.
So they now attempt the only moment of emotional continuity in this episode.
I can't believe last episode was hard. Like, I literally cannot believe.
On a single man tear and a gunshot, and now we're like, "Hi, Gilmore Girls tour time." God, yeah,
it's just so funny because they do not show Sam at all this episode. Like, again, like we said earlier,
he's not processing anything. He's just like off screen.
literally. So yeah, that was
his
extremely
mourning of
funny.
Maddie's death was not important to Dean's journey of eating Philly cheesesteak sliders. So, yeah, Dean says, like, I just figured that, like, after everything that happened with Madison, you could use, like, a little vacation. And Sam says, well, maybe I want to work because it keeps my mind off things. Yeah, and it also keeps him off screen this entire episode.
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna go to the morgue, I'm gonna do all this research. And it's so funny because, like, he has this thing where it's like, Dean is exploring the place, and, like, the whole point is that he doesn't find anything. And then he talks to Sam, and Sam is like, oh, I found something, though. And it's like, why didn't you show us Sam then? He found something.
Yeah. Like, I know that morgue scenes are boring, but you have forced us through at least one morgue scene per episode since the beginning of this show, and now you think you're too good for them? Like, Ben Edlund, like, get over your Dean crush and show us the case. Yeah, so they talk about the case, the crew guy who died on set, Dean says it could be like the movie Poltergeist, which Sam doesn't know, and Dean says about that, you know nothing of your cultural heritage. Alright.
So true.
So true. Yeah, so apparently the set of Poltergeist was rumored to be cursed because they used real human bones as props. And they revealed that the name of the guy who died is Frank Jaffe, but they weren't able to find a death certificate or a coroner's report. Like, he doesn't seem to be on the record. But the actress who found him said she saw a vanishing figure. Sam reveals that the actress's name is Tara Benchley, and Dean lights up because apparently she's a well-known scream queen to him from Fear.com and Ghost Ship. Yeah, he's a fan of her work. He says it's very good. It's not, though.
You know, the thing about Tara Benchley, I mean, we're going a bit out of order here, but they do have sex, right?
Yes.
I like that. Like, this is the one, like, time at this point in the show where Dean interacts with a woman that he likes that I actually, like, really enjoyed. Because, like,
yeah,
he approaches her and he's very shy, he's very timid.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
submissive, breedable, even.
God. That, you just caught me at, like, my natural habitat. Like, reacting to the word submissive and breedable. That's how I react to it every single time. But, no, I was saying, like, he's shy, all that. And then, at the end of the day, she didn't know that he saved her.
Yeah,
like,
exactly, yeah.
So there's no debt in that way. Like, she really did just sleep with him because... Not because he's... Like, I mean, he's kind of lying about who he is. But he is a PA at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's not pretending to be a scout of reality TV shows or whatever. Like... He was a PA at that point, so he wasn't pretending to be anyone, and then they sleep together, and it's purely because she thought he was cute, and I like that. Turns out they can write women to be, you know, have sex with Dean Winchester without it being weird.
Yeah, agreed. Right, and also, and like, she's not his boss or anything either, so there's no bad power dynamic in the other direction. Like, she's more famous than him, but like, both of them are employees of the movie set, so like, yeah, it's cute and normal and fine.
Yeah, and when Dean comes out, I mean, we're gonna discuss it later, but I just want to say when Dean comes out of the trailer and his hair is all ruffled up, I legitimately went, oh! His hair is all ruffled up. And then, yeah, that's my observation of the day.
So true.
So, they go into the movie set. And as they're hanging out, they see that there's this guy. His name is Brad. And he's a director or he's the producer?
He's like a studio executive.
Yeah,
I don't know what that translates to. Like, in actual job terms.
I think he is a producer. Because, like, the guy calls him, like, a suit. So, like, he's, like, the type of guy who wears a suit in this kind of environment type of guy. So, he's talking to some of the guys who are doing the lighting. And he's saying, like, make it brighter, like, and then the guys are like, it's a horror show, like, it's a horror movie, and he's like, yeah, but it looks too drab, it looks too depressing, why don't you just make it brighter, more colors, which I suppose, like, they're saying this because it's a reference to the fact that Supernatural at this point is very dark.
Yeah.
And
well, the studio execs got what they wanted.
They literally will get what they have asked for. And, yeah. At some point, Brad looks over to where Sam and Dean are, and he calls over the guy with the green shirt, meaning Dean. And Dean's like, "What, me?" And then he asks for a smoothie from Kraft, and Dean's like, "The you want a what from who?" And Sam comes in and is like, "No, he's just new here. Like, we'll get you a smoothie coming right up." And he puts on that voice, and it's so funny. What the fuck do you mean smoothie coming right up?
Okay, why did this guy decide that Dean was a PA and Sam was just hanging out?
I mean, I assume he assumed both of them are PAs, but it's not like you're gonna call two PAs to grab you a smoothie, right?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
Does Dean not know what a smoothie is?
Do you think Dean doesn't know what a smoothie is? I'm sure he does. Because, like, at this point, Sam is still not a health nut, so I'm assuming he only knows, like, milkshake type smoothies, right? He's not aware of the fruit smoothie agenda as of yet.
Yeah. Oh god, my favorite meme is the "see you in hell, you stupid fruit" like blender thing. And like that showed up on November 5th. It was so good. Anyway, yeah, I guess Dean's not homophobic enough to make smoothies yet.
Yeah. So, later on we cut to Dean holding a tray of smoothies, and he's giving it out to, like, you know, people passing by, etc. So Dean realizes that, like, oh, I actually need to investigate at some point, right? So he sets down the smoothie tray and he gets out an EMF meter and starts creeping up the what did you call this? The rafts? No, that's not
I
it.
think the rafters are like the top part, but the general thing is the scaffolding.
The scaffolding, exactly. So he goes up the scaffolding, and suddenly, like, the lights dim and the crew starts recording. Like, they start filming. And what they're filming is Tara, who is, you know, the girl, the main character, reading off a book in Latin or in Enochian or, you know, just some language. They get into it a little bit later. But she's reading something off a book. And they're just goofing around on set and stuff. Meanwhile, Dean is up there inspecting the whole place, but there's no EMF anywhere. So he goes back down.
Sam gets this update, and he asks Dean, how's the whole thing going? And Dean says that being a PA sucks, but the snacks on set are great. He, like, enthuses about, like, a Philly cheesesteak slider. And he tries to give Sam one, but Sam gives him some judgmental look and is like, maybe later. Sam has a lot of judgment of Dean's eating in this episode.
I don't know why Ben Edlund... The thing is, this episode, you can pinpoint a lot of the things that they do with Sam and Dean in terms of food back to this episode. Like, there's a little bit of it in Tall Tales. There's a little bit of it in the episode where they dress up as priests. But, like, it's really highlighted here. It's basically the main point of the episode. Like, it's really highlighted here. And it frustrates me that they made it this way, and it has emanated throughout the rest of the show.
Right. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't
Why
know
is
why
he so
Sam would be judgmental about Dean eating a sandwich. You know? Like, what is wrong with the situation?
It's...
Like, it's food on set, and you eat it.
Yeah, and it's free, and he's allowed to get it. And I mean, it's more appropriate than the other past few times. Like, the other time, it was like, oh, this guy's telling us that someone died here and you're stuffing your face with nuts. And then the other time, it's like, we're literally at a funeral and you're eating off the plate like it's what you're here to do. But
right.
now it's
Like,
literally,
that's
like,
normal,
the food is
but this
here
yeah.
to be eaten. And they're just on set. And, like, just let him fucking eat.
Right. And it's like they were both food insecure growing up, and I understand that like the general consensus is that Dean bore the brunt of that more than Sam did, because like Dean would go hungry to give Sam food, but like I feel like if you're growing up with someone, you notice that, and also it's not like Sam was never food insecure, and that there was like Dean always got enough food for Sam even if he didn't eat himself, right? So like this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. But alas, this is
weird.
what we are given. And
It
this
is
is
what we are given.
what will be shown throughout the rest of the fucking show.
Right.
Tough luck.
Yeah. Right. Like, they end up giving Sam his own food thing, which is interesting how they go about it. But yeah, oh well.
Yeah, it sure is, but yeah.
So, yes, so Dean asks about Sam's research, and yeah, they can't find anything on Frank Jaffe. And Walter shows up and takes a sandwich, and Dean says after Walter, "They're wonderful," about the sandwich. So true. And so apparently this like filming area had 4 deaths in the past 80 years, 2 suicides, 2 fatal accidents. So they're thinking vengeful spirit. Tara walks by, and Dean is like, okay, time to go over and talk and get her autograph or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he, like, grabs some, like, sheet of paper from a worker, like, walking by, and then he goes up to Tara, and he's like, oh, like, they missed you, like, were you supposed to get one of these sheets of paper? And
he looks adorable. Crystal is literally gonna kill me for this, but he looks adorbs.
He looks enthusiastic in a way that could be read as endearing if you cared about him. That is what I will say.
Literally, Dean is cute when you care about him and not when you're not caring about him. So true.
Yeah.
He gives her the paper and he says like, I don't really know what I'm doing. And he's so cute. And then Tara says like, oh, is it your first day? And he's like, yeah. And I know it's gauche to say this, but I'm a big fan of yours. Like, I love you in Boogeyman. And then Tara says like, oh god, that was a terrible fucking script, which just confirms that Dean really loves to watch terrible movies.
Yeah.
I honestly support that, because I'm currently at the stage in life where I only watch good movies. So what happens is every time I watch a movie, it takes me like 3 months to process it. So I don't watch any movie after that in those span of 3 months. I just dwell on the last one I saw.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna watch movies more frequently, I'm assuming you're gonna come across like shit movies every now and then. And that's what Dean is doing. Dean sees this as an entryway to talk about the case. So he asks like, oh, you saw the guy who died, right? And she was like, yeah. And Dean exhibits some tact by saying like, oh, I know you probably don't want to talk about it. He's so cute. But she says like, I'm fine talking about it. It's just that no one else wants to talk about it because everyone thinks I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown if they mention it around me. But it was a horrible thing because like blood was dripping out of his eyes and his mouth. And she says like she's positive that she saw something, a figure, and she doesn't know what it was, but she's sure that she saw it. Eventually, this guy, Walter, approaches her and gives her a drink. And she's like, "Oh, thank you, Walter." And this is like the second time this happened. So in your brain, you're like, "Oh, this Walter guy's gonna be important, isn't he? He's gonna be the guy, isn't he?" So, fun stuff.
What I thought this whole time was, this is a set full of white men and I can't tell any of them apart or know what any of their jobs are. And, like, when they revealed that Walter was the writer at the end, they were like, "Oh my god, Walter the PA?" I was like, who the fuck is that?
It's so funny that he is, like, literally a writer that, like, got rights to be on set. And he's acting as a PA for this woman. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah. He's an odd guy, as we will find out.
God, what they did with Walter is so funny. Even thinking back to it, it's like absolutely fucking hilarious. And like, whatever, we'll get into it later. This entire episode is so funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, eventually, Tara ends up showing Dean a picture that she took with the guy before the guy died. And Dean looks at it and he says, "Son of a bitch."
Whoa.
Dun 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 dun.
So, we show up at some house, which Sam and Dean are knocking on the door, and some guy opens it, and Dean says, "Gerard St. James," and this is the guy who we previously knew as Frank, and he's alive. So apparently Dean recognizes him because he was Desert Soldier number 4 in Metal Storm: The Destruction of Jared's Sin.
What a nerd.
What a nerd. Yeah, Dean's like, "Oh my god, I'm a huge fan. Like, you got hit by a tractor in Critters 3? So yeah, like, this is like a guy who plays like practically extras roles, but Dean is a nerd, so he recognizes him. So they come in the house, and Gerard explains that the producers brought him in for a day to play this Frank Jaffe guy to fake his death so that there'd be more publicity stirred up because people would be thinking the film set was haunted. He says, "They say I'm the new Lonely Girl." What is Lonely Girl?
You don't know who Lonely Girl is?
No?
Okay, Lonely Girl 15 was an ARG. That was
Okay.
like at the beginning of YouTube back in like, I guess 2005. So like someone was like, "You know what we could do? We could make this like vlog series where this girl called Lonely Girl 15 vlogs." I actually don't know much of the details, but I know this is just a general gist. If you want to get into it, I don't know, fucking Google it or something. But they were like, "Let's make this vlog series where it looks like someone who is an actual person doing a vlog. But it's actually an actor who's pretending to be Lonely Girl 15. And it's like there's like a whole crew managing the vlogs and stuff." And it's like, it's very big in the ARG community because it's like one of the first ones that really blasted through the internet because it's like a vlog, like it's in video format.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's the new Lonely Girl. Because, do you even know what an ARG is, or?
Kind of. It's like not really. I mean, it's like it's sort of like a game thing, right? Where you like try to find clues and shit, like, and they're hidden on various parts of the internet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a time in my life where I was like not into ARGs as in into them like that, but like I was into ARG YouTubers, like people who YouTubed about ARGs, you know.
Oh, interesting.
And I was like, so that's how I learned about Lonely Girl 15. But
Got it.
I was actually shocked when they mentioned it in this episode, because I didn't think of it as like a big thing, as like something that has permeated culture enough to be present in a supernatural episode.
Yeah.
But apparently it is.
Yeah, I mean, Dean says who, so
Yeah.
I feel like you're not supposed to understand the reference. I think Badlands just threw it in, because he's aware of it.
Do you think Sam knows who Lonely Girl 15 is?
Probably not.
Probably
I
not.
don't know. What do you think Sam would watch on YouTube?
This is such a... I think Sam would watch, like, conspiracy theories, but, like, he would be on the comment section disproving every single thing the person is saying. Like, it'll be, like, flat earth theory, why the earth is flat. And then, like, in the comment section, he's just outlines, like, a 1,500 word fully referenced paper about why the earth is, in fact, not flat.
Yeah, no, that sounds exactly right. Do you think Sam gets in fights on Reddit? I think Sam's totally a Reddit guy.
Like, I know we have fics where Dean is, like, on Reddit talking about Cass or something, which, like, that's a fun concept. But you know what we need? We need, like, a Reddit fights that Sam has. And it's not even relevant to anything. There's no overarching plot. He just has fights with people.
It's his stress relief.
This is his stress relief, exactly.
God, good for him.
Yeah.
So apparently the ghost was like projected on a screen, and Dean says that what you did was kind of cruel, and Gerard says, hey, I just play this part, I don't write the script. And he tries to push, like, one of his new gigs at them.
I thought that was gonna be more relevant, but
yeah,
it's not at all. Maybe they're just showing that guys who do this are like this or something.
Yeah, I think so. Apparently you get a free pepper steak with the coupon, though. Like, I figured Dean would definitely take him. Yeah, that's good.
Literally get that fucking pepper steak.
Yeah. So... Right, so they decide to start heading out. Who's Richard Mole? Is that a real guy? But basically Dean just asks Gerard what it was like to work with some guy named Richard Mole.
I am positive that there is a lot of references here that we can see as references, and then we just don't understand. And I'm positive that there's even more references here that we just don't catch, like, at fucking all. So I'm sure someone it doesn't matter to us because we don't care about it, but I'm sure someone is, like, screaming at their phone right now, like, it means blah blah blah. Why do you not notice? And to that person I say, don't email us. We don't care. I'm sorry.
Richard Mole voiced Two-Face in Batman the Animated Series.
Isn't like Jensen Ackles in Batman now or something?
Yeah, but most importantly, Misha Collins was going to play Two-Face on Gotham Knights until it got cancelled, baby!
It got cancelled? Are you?
There's rumors that it's been cancelled.
No. But the Misha girls are so excited.
Do not let that man get any jobs. Do not allow that man on the screen anymore. So true. Cancel Gotham Knights.
I mean, I'm sure his book is selling well, so that's gotta be like
don't fucking even.
That's gonna be like a year of like,
We
I
need
don't
to
know.
do a Kofi bonus of dramatic readings of his shit-ass poems.
Hey, he has some good ones. I hate
Does
that I'm
he?
becoming like the Misha Collins, like fucking warrior in this podcast. But he has some poems that I like. Yeah, that's my hot
Yeah.
take.
Well, I'm glad somebody somewhere is enjoying something.
Exactly.
Yeah, so... Right, Gerard says that this guy was a gentleman, and then Dean's like, oh gee, yay, pepper steak, and then they head out.
They head out, and back in the film set.
Yeah. Every cut, like, starts with, like, a new scene from the movie, basically.
Yeah. So, like, the scene starts, and there is a guy, like, handling the audio. As they're doing the scene inside the house, the audio starts changing into something, like, freaky. And then back to the guys who are like filming the stuff, the XX and the director and stuff. Brad, the guy who asked for the smoothie earlier, is now saying that he doesn't get the logic of the movie because how can the demons hear them if they're in hell? Do the demons have fucking super hearing? And then they were like, oh, whatever, maybe we should write a fucking explainer then. And so they do write an explainer. It's so funny. Because they remember in Supernatural when they were like, oh yeah, salt is like purifying people. And Sam was saying this to Dean, and Dean literally has been doing this his entire fucking life. Like, come on, dude. Literally just put an explainer right in there. So, Brad, the guy, wanders off, right? And he's walking around when he's trying to call someone when somebody appears like behind him, and it's this lady who looks very much like she just jumped right out of a black and white movie. So he's like, oh, well, that's weird. I quite like the makeup and etc etc, but because she has like scars on her neck, like wounds on her neck or like bruises and stuff, and he's saying to her that like, I like your makeup, but the bruises on your neck could be a little bit more red. I'll tell the makeup artist about that, right? So he fully believes that this ghost is just some rando on set, like in a makeup that is the most amazing you've ever seen on a person. And then he turns around and she taps him, and then she disrobes.
Which was not necessary, like, it was not needed.
She could have just given him, like, bedroom eyes or something.
Yeah. Also, like, he went up to the rafters after her. Like, he was like, this woman wants to sleep with me on the ceiling of the set while we're filming.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she could have just done like there's something wrong up here, like, I need to show you for the sake of the movie or whatever, right? Like, it's not realistic to think that someone's telling you to have sex in the rafters while you're fucking filming the movie.
Also, like, I'm assuming the rest of her body is also gray.
Right. They're like, the makeup artist got your nipples too? Like, alright, girl.
Exactly. But eventually he goes up after her. And then we cut back to the scene that they're filming, and now they're doing the explainer. Like we said earlier, they're saying like, oh, how can they hear us from hell? And then some guy goes, they must have super hearing or something. Literally in Supernatural, the demons have super hearing.
So true.
Anyway, just as they're doing that, a body crashes through the fucking ceiling. It's Brad! And he's dead.
Yep. He
R.I.P.
is hanging by a rope around his neck. F. They're filming the movie again, and the jokes happening here are that they say that they need salt to fend off the spirits, and the actors are like, I don't get it. Why would the spirits be afraid of salt? Also, meanwhile, there's like a little talk about Brad, who just died, and it's like, it feels weird to be filming even though, like, he killed himself on set. And Jay, one of the director, is like, it's like he was just a studio guy, whatever. We had a moment of silence for him at breakfast. I wonder how much of this is, like, Ben Edlund's opinions about, like, the workings of the Supernatural set coming through. Right, so Tara's, like, asking about the salt thing. Why would a ghost be afraid of salt? Obviously, this is very funny to Dean. And then they're like, what else would a ghost be afraid of? Maybe shotguns? So true.
Shotguns with salt in them?
Perhaps. Right, and Walter says, watching this, these people are idiots, and walks off. So yeah, I guess this is some kind of a sign of what's to come. Dean says Walter's a little testy for a PA, huh? So Sam comes over to ask how it's going, and Dean only answers things about the movie, like how Tara's really stepped up her performance. And Sam goes like, Dean, like, I'm asking about the case. We don't really work here, and I thought you hated being a PA. And Dean says, I don't know, it's not so bad. I kind of feel like part of the team, you know? Oh,
That's so sweet.
yeah.
That is so sweet.
Because
Although
he has worked, like, alone or just with, like, his dad or his brother for his whole life. Like, he's not really
yeah,
had,
and
like, group settings before.
this is like such a big group too. Like, this is not just like there's like a 5 group team that you're working with. This is like, like a well-oiled machine, and then you put him in there and it's like, oh, I like being a part of the
Yeah.
machine, like, type of guy.
Yeah.
And it's pretty sweet. Like, it's something to think about. I understand why the Dean girls like this episode as a Dean thesis statement.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Like, did they really have to go back to hunting after this? Like,
Yeah. Just let him be there. Come
just let him
on.
be a PA. Like, we can get him some fake papers so he can, like, get the paychecks actually. And then just let him be a PA. So, yeah, and also he offers Sam a taquito, and he says they're wonderful, which is what he also said about the sliders, and that's kind of cute. But Sam does his judgmental thing again, which I don't get, but whatever. We've already talked about how we don't get it. So Sam says that he conned his way into the morgue, which we didn't see at all because Ben Edlund hates Sam's guts. And yeah, Brad is, like, definitely dead in there, so this isn't a Frank Jaffe situation.
All throughout this, they're doing this joke where Dean is, like, not hearing Sam because
Yeah.
he keeps on talking to his headset, which I thought was really funny. Gets old a little bit later, but it's funny right now.
It is funny. Yeah. So Dean says that he wants to show something to Sam, and they go over to the sound guy, and he plays Sam the distortion that happened earlier. So it's EVP ghosts. Woo.
Boo.
So they decide to investigate where Brad died. Or not, no, the scene of the movie during which
Yeah.
Brad died.
So they go to a fucking trailer. Whose trailer is this?
Yeah.
Later they hang out here and allegedly hang out there for 6 hours. Did you hear that? It's 6 hours.
Wait, what? When?
Like, because Dean comes in and he's like, "Oh, have you seen anything else that's relevant in these tapes or something?" And Sam says, "Not for the past 6 hours."
Gee, no.
Why are they there? It's been 6 hours. Whose trailer is this?
Maybe it's the trailer of one of the dead guys.
Exactly. Perhaps so. Maybe it's Brad's trailer, because it's fancy too. It's nice.
Yeah.
They go inside the trailer and they rewatch the scene of Brad falling through the ceiling. And eventually, what they find is that there is a figure in the back from where Brad was. And Sam apparently recognizes this fucking blob of a figure. And he's like, I know this person. And then they go see. And apparently, it's this woman named Elise Drummond who was like a star back in the 30s, and she ended up killing herself inside this set because she became destitute after like her executive boyfriend left her. So
and fired her.
Yeah, fired her from her work. And that's their prime suspect now for who is doing the murders. So they go to burn her bones.
Yeah. They sure do. So the next scene, it sort of cuts back and forth. So Sam and Dean are in some Hollywood cemetery trying to find Elise Drummond's grave. They see some fun-looking headstones. Dean's really enthused. And they reach it and start digging. Meanwhile, Jay, who's a producer, is alone on the set. And he's just on the phone being fake or whatever. But the lights eventually go out. So they salt and burn Elise, but this does not help Jay because there's a figure that passes by him even after the salting and burning. And he calls out to this figure and says, like, can you help me out and show me where the exit is? And this guy turns around and his face is fucked up, like part of his skull's missing and like there's stuff bulging out of it. Yeah. So yeah, Jay screams and then the fans on set turn on and somehow have the strength to drag Jay into their wake. And then we get this fun shot where when he hits the fan, it cuts away to some white cloth. And we see, like,
some random-ass white cloth.
Yeah, we see red spraying all over it. Hell yeah.
A detail you missed that I enjoyed is the fact that, because they're in Hollywood, the gravestones are of important people, some of them, right?
Oh, yeah.
So they have a map that they bought for $5.
Yeah.
And, like, that's why it was so easy for them to find the gravestone. Because they literally had a map. Which I thought was fun.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true? Have you ever been to LA?
I've been to LA, but I haven't been to the Hollywood cemetery.
Yeah, I presume so. But I imagine that to be true. I imagine there to be
accurate.
Yeah. Anyway, eventually we start a new scene, which means new scene from the movie, and this time it's a fucking trailer. And I mean, it's so just a trailer. It's so bad. It's such a good bad trailer. And one of the things that they were like from the makers of Monster Truck.
Oh god, was that Did they use the same truck as the racist truck, or do all?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So that's extremely funny.
Oh, also, we find out that this isn't... The shirts they've all been wearing are for the movie Hellhazers, but we find out that this is actually a sequel to Hellhazers.
Yeah.
It's Hellhazers 2. The Reckoning.
So true.
Yeah, it's very funny that, like, they're like, oh my god, we summoned the ghosts again, and they're coming to kill us again. I didn't know that reading this Latin incantation would summon the ghosts again. So true.
Yeah. Anyway, Sam and Dean figure out that, like, Elise is now dead, so it must not be her. So these ghosts may be playing tag team, because what happened, the thing with the fan that happened also happened to another guy before, which is such a terrifying way to die.
Yeah, like, sorry, dude.
What a terrifying way to die. Yeah. So eventually, so what happens is the director calls in everyone and it's like, hey, everyone, come here. I know that 2 people died on set, but we must do what they would have wanted in their last moments in life. And that is to get Hellraiser's The Reckoning on screen all across America. So
right,
true.
And Sam looks like weirded out by this, and so does Dean for a second, and then Dean just starts clapping with everyone else.
Yeah, like everyone starts clapping and Dean's like, ooh, yeah. And Sam is like, what the fuck? Which is the appropriate response, by the way.
Yeah. But, you know, Dean's part of the team now.
He
wants to get Hellblazers 2 The Reckoning on screen all across America, too.
Yeah. But the director is like, yeah, we need to get Hellraisers all across America, but not today. Today, you guys are coming home because we need to take a break for a couple days for the investigation. Bye-bye! And so they go away.
Yep. So, we cut to the trailer that they've commandeered, and Sam's watching over and over the scene where Tara's reading the Latin incantation that raises the demons or ghosts or whatever. And, yeah, the electrician who died, Dean finds out that he was cremated, so they can't really do anything. And Sam says that he's been here for the last 6 hours watching this, trying to figure out what's up. And then he says the best line ever in this episode, which is, you know, maybe the spirits are trying to shut down the movie because they think it sucks. Because, I mean, it kind of does.
So true.
So true. I love when Sam's bitchy because I feel like with Dean, they always know how to make him fun by, like, making him, like, dorky or over-enthusiastic or something, and then they make Sam so unfun by being judgmental about it for no good reason.
Yeah, so, like, the only way they could make him fun is if he's snarky.
Yeah.
So, when they do it right, they do it well.
Yes.
But they just don't do it often enough.
Yeah.
But this scene was so funny. And it is the best line of the entire episode. Like, maybe they're trying to shut down the movie because it sucks. Because it kind of does.
God, he's so funny. So Sam suddenly realizes that, like, this Latin incantation is, like, an actual, like, summoning ritual for the dead. Are they not afraid that playing it from the screen is gonna summon the ghosts again?
I think it's just a matter of speaking it into existence.
Yeah, I suppose so. So playing a recording wouldn't work. Like,
yeah, you have to recite it. Yeah. So
they show up in the office to talk to Marty, who is the writer of the script, and they came over and were like, like, oh, we wanted to talk to you because, like, we read the script and, like Sam says, like, with the most effort that's, like, he's ever put into anything, like, yeah, it's awesome. Totally. Yeah.
So true. I feel called out by the portrayal of this guy.
Because of how you act about your Ace Attorney fit.
Don't reveal my leanings on fanfiction as of recent, but literally how I act when I talk about anything I've written, fanfiction or otherwise. Like, oh, it's good, right? It's so good, right? Like, I literally wrote it like this because that's that way, because it's good, and that's why it's good, right?
Yeah, so... Right, Marty's like, yeah, it's rocking, right? And Sam says, yeah, I liked all the attention to detail. And Marty's like, dude, right on, that's my thing. I mean, you know, color me guilty, but that is me. I'm a total detail buff. So true. Yeah, so Sam says that, yeah, like you worked in real Enochian summoning rituals in there. Wait, I miss Cass. Why couldn't this ritual summon Cass?
So true. I mean, we're about to end season 2.
And then there's a whole other one.
But that's just 16 episodes. We'll just pass.
That's
16
true.
weeks, that's so fast. It'll pass by.
Okay, that's true. Thank you. Yeah, so Marty's like, oh no, that Latin shit, like, that wasn't me. That was the original writer, Walter Dixon. Apparently he's not a PA. He just has a clause in his contract that allows him to come on set, and he decided that during that time he wanted to get actors water. Yeah, and so he wrote the invocations, and Marty says that his screenplay was bad because there was no pace or love interest. It's all exposition, etc.
So true.
Yep.
Supernatural 4. Literally, where are the love interest? Where is Cass? Where's the love interest?
Yeah,
you
where's
guys?
the love interest? Give us Cass.
We need the love interest. So we cut to Sam and Dean reading the script that Walter made, and it's literally called Lord of the Dead. And Dean comments that it's actually good and they should have kept it, blah blah blah. But Sam says like it reads like a how-to manual on how to conjure actual spirits and how to like make it so that they follow your bidding.
Do we ever learn where Walter learned this shit?
No, I'm
He's just some guy.
Literally just some guy, and then he knows all this shit too as well.
Like, yeah, no, like he's a human. I don't. Maybe he learned it from like a witch or something. But I don't. I think it's weird that at no point they tried to find out where he was learning this stuff, because maybe that person was teaching like this to other humans,
Other
right?
people, yeah, and eventually they conclude that the reason why he's letting out the spirits is because he's mad about the movie. Literally the biggest tantrum fit I've ever seen in my fucking life. You didn't put my movie on, and now you're all gonna die.
God. And I love how they're like, oh yeah, that's a reasonable motive. Okay, we understand the situation now. Like, I would never have drawn that conclusion because that's so stupid. I would have been like, oh, he's summoning people to kill people, but like, he must have like serious like, someone here must have like killed his parents. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's so stupid.
But yeah, eventually, a little bit later, we see the writer that we saw earlier, Marty. He's walking in the set, and then he comes across Walter, Well, actually, Walter calls him to the set, right?
Yeah.
So so he's asking Walter, like, why are you calling me here? I'm busy. I'm writing a script. Writers really do be like this. Literally all of my friends who are writers are exactly like this. Like, why are you talking to me? I'm writing right now. Like, fuck off, dude. Walter says, like, we could have made something good, but instead you tore the script to pieces. And now you're gonna pay.
He also says that you replaced it with cleavage and fart jokes. Like, fucking bold of Ben Edlund to say, like, given the way that he writes women.
You replace it with sexualization of women and fart jokes. To be fair, Ben Edlund has not had a fart joke.
That's true.
Thus far. But, you know, Ben Edlund, you never know what to expect.
Who wrote the episode where Cass sits on the whoopee cushion?
Oh my god.
Who wrote it? I need to know. Whoopee cushion. Castiel.
Whoopee cushion, Castiel.
Supernatural. Is this going to give me...
No, it's not giving me the episode.
It's in I Believe the
Children are our future.
I don't know anything about this one. Let me look up.
Oh my god! It's written by Andrew Dabb.
Oh my god. Of course it was.
Yeah. So, Andrew Dabb and Ben Edlund together is unnecessary cleavage and unnecessary fart jokes.
Yep. Yes.
Yes.
You're gonna pay. Hilarious.
So he's gonna pay, and then he raises a little pendant and starts chanting. So Marty turns around and the guy from earlier is there, and Marty screams.
Did you find it really funny that he summoned the same guy again? Like, 4 people died on the set, but he's like, I think the fan guy, that's like my favorite little ghost guy. I think we should give him a go again.
He's so obsessed with this ghost. And I would be as well. The fan death is so much fun to watch.
It's true. It's true.
Literally the first time, I was like, I was that emoji where it's like peering through a little peek in the hands. Like, I was that emoji. Literally so true. But, this ghost, apparently the reason why they get taken to the fan is because the ghost drags them to the fan.
Mm-hmm.
But before the ghost can drag him to the fan, Sam and Dean shoot the ghost and show up, and then Sam turns off the fan, and then Dean is like standing over the guy. Marty says, "You're one hell of a PA," and Dean says, "Yeah, I know," and then helps the guy up. Oh, what a loser! What a loser.
He is. He's a total loser. Good for him. So, we get the confrontation with Walter, where he's like, "What are you doing? I could ask you the same thing." And Walter starts heading up the scaffolding, and Sam's saying, like, it's like, you are doing dangerous things, raising spirits from the dead and making them murder for you. Which, how much is he controlling these people? Like, is he telling them who to kill?
I mean, perhaps.
Is he telling
maybe
them
it's like
how
the
to
Reaper
do it?
situation.
Like, because I don't, like, was he like, you should disrobe and then go up the, like how much power does he have?
I mean, maybe it's like, just kill this person and then the ghost chooses, like, the way they were killed.
Yeah. Yeah, I
to
suppose
kill the person.
so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so. I wish that I wish that ghost did not, like, non-consensually disrobe in front of that guy.
Yeah. Right, I hope that she just decided to have a bit of a hot girl summer before doing murder. So, yeah, Walter's like, you don't understand. You put your heart and soul into something, years of hard work. It's years, and then they take it, and they crap all over it. And then they want you to smile and say thank you. And Sam's like, dude, it's just a movie.
It's literally just a
movie. You know that tweet that you posted about Bakugo's death?
The what?
The tweet you posted about Bakugo's death where someone said, like, they, like, live streamed it, like, he died in front of his parents, and someone replied, at first I thought that you were talking about a real guy. Can you put, like, a tone indicator that says drawing or something? Literally, can you put a tone indicator that says movie?
For the uninformed, in the anime My Hero Academia, or I don't know, is it a manga? I'm not too informed on the thing.
There's an anime and a manga. So I think
he died on the manga. Like,
okay.
The current release in the manga, he dies, Bakugo, and then like the Twitters were in shambles because literally, like, who would have thought they would kill Bakugo of all people? And people were tweeting shit like he was killed in the live stream. Parents saw that shit. Do you think this is how people saw us when we were like crying over Castiel dying or like Dean dying? Like, it's just a TV show, dude.
Right. Can you put a tone indicator that says what TV on there?
Literally, he went to super hell. He got stabbed in the back by a fucking nail.
And died of tetanus.
He died of tetanus. Can you put a tone indicator?
His brother saw that shit. Anyway. Yeah. So, he says it's just a movie. And Walter's like, listen, like, just leave.
Wait, I have another joke.
Okay, yes.
Like, you know Drew Gooden?
I've heard the name.
He's a YouTuber, and then he has a wife, and then, like, one time, like, he made this joke where one time she was scrolling through Instagram, and the I, Tonya movie official account was, like, advertised to her. And then she didn't read that it was I, Tonya movie. She thought it said...
What? What? What did you say? Did you say anything?
She thought it said it only...
What? It said what?
No, it says I, Tonya movie, but she thought it said it only a movie.
So true.
Literally, Walter.
Movie.
Literally, Walter. It's only a movie.
Oh god, okay, we just spent like 10 minutes laughing at our own jokes. But that's every Bad Pod episode.
Really?
God, that's good though. Yeah, so Sam says it only a movie. And Walter says like I have nothing against you, but you need to leave and leave Martin behind so I can fucking murder him. And Dean says, like, sorry, like, we can't do that. Not as a matter of principle. Or, sorry, no, not... Okay, sorry, let me do that again. Dean says, sorry, we can't do that. It's not like we like him or anything, but, you know, out of principle.
So true.
And Walter's like, okay, well, ghost summoning time. So he summons 4 ghosts, 2 of who are new to us. And all of them are injured in some way. And They all start walking towards them, but then they suddenly disappear because they're invisible now for some reason.
Yeah, they're invisible. And it's like, we've never had an invisible ghost, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. Like, we've had ghosts with, like, telekinesis powers. Maybe they just turn invisible and run at you really fast.
Yeah,
So,
maybe so.
But usually they're visible during the telekinesis, so that doesn't work out. So, we get a whole thing where they start running away. Apparently, Dean does a thing which apparently is a Die
Harder reference. I do not care about Die Hard.
Yeah, me neither. So I'm not even gonna say the line. And then they're pretty screwed the whole time. Marty's being like, "Oh my god, like ghosts are real? What? How is Walter controlling them?" Because we somehow needed exposition for that, even though we saw Walter hold up a talisman and chant. Sam's like, "Probably the talisman." Wow. Thanks.
So smart. He's so smart.
Wow. He is a real detective. He's a real ace attorney.
He's literally ace attorney investigating right now.
So, Sam pulls out his cell phone camera because he says that film cameras are able to get the ghost, so his cell phone camera should too. So he scans the room around and he sees one of the ghosts and he goes like, "Dean, there!" And Dean just shoots and we get just multiple scenes with Sam just swiveling the phone around and being like, "Gun boy, there. Go!"
It's so stupid.
It looks like one of those video game arcade shooter game things, Like,
yeah. It's the stupidest thing they've ever done so far.
Yeah. Though, didn't they do this in Asylum as well? But it, worked better in Asylum.
I mean, there's a scene later. Okay, I'll tell the rest of the scene, right? So, eventually, Sam catches up on the guy as Marty and Dean kill the ghost, shoot the ghost downstairs. Mm-hmm. And they end up in the fucking top of the building or something? Yeah. On the roof.
Something like that.
And what happens is Walter breaks the pendant. And Sam's like, "Oh, why did you break it? Like, they're gonna attack you because you forced them to do all these horrible things, so they're mad at you." And they do. So, at this point, Dean and Marty are also upstairs now.
And they just watch.
They just watch as this guy gets mauled, and at some point, Marty raises the camera. And,
we see 4 ghosts wailing on this man.
We see the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen in Supernatural, which is just 4 ghosts scratching this guy's back. Jesus, it's so funny. I bursted laughing the moment they showed that shot. Yeah. What is going on? I mean, I get that the scene is supposed to be I get that the idea is supposed to be goofy, mm-hmm. right? Because they do it later in the actual movie.
Yeah.
And it's seen as oh, look at these fucking losers, yeah. Right? But here at the kill shot where it's he's getting mauled to death, you would want to think that it's gonna be a little bit creepier or something, right?
Right.
But it's not. It's just absolutely hilarious.
4 people beating up on him. Yeah. So good. I know this guy murdered 2 people, but the fact that they don't even try to shoot the ghosts with salt, when they're killing him, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Supernatural doesn't want to deal with the idea that some sometimes the true monsters are people, and then, like, they either have to confront, like, the we don't kill people policy, or they have to confront, like, the criminal justice system as a way to, like, deal with...
Which they will next episode.
Oh my god, fuck, you're right, it's Folsom Prison Blues.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, right. So, like, instead of, like, dealing with any of that, they were like, just let the ghosts kill him so we don't have to think about this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, alright. Rip to Walter.
R.I.P. At least his parents didn't see that shit.
Well,
it was not live streamed.
Maybe the camera was filming. Maybe they put that shit online.
Sorry to all Bakugo fans or whatever. Like,
I'm not. She seems annoying.
Goodbye
to all our listeners, but I don't like Bakugo, I think.
I don't know anything about, it's so weird saying it My Hero Academia, because, like...
It's BNHA.
Like, which is, like, I think that's a product of, like, every single person who watches this is a nerd. So, like, they would not say My Hero Academia, you know?
Yeah.
We are just dunking on fans of this show so hard. I'm so sorry to all BNHA fans.
It was the memes when Mineta was, like, ambiguously bi were really funny.
I have no idea about any of this. All I know is that Bakugo is dead.
This is gonna age so badly, like, when he comes back from the dead in the next, like, installment, and people are like, these fucking idiots think Bakugo's dead.
I mean, Cass came back to life, but all the jokes about him dying are so funny, so...
That's true.
So, this is so rich, coming from a supernatural podcast. A future Ace Attorney podcast as well.
How would, like, I'd be playing it for the first time? Would that be how it works?
I don't think you would want to play Ace Attorney, so...
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
so
it would be like a podcast where we do, like, I talk about Ace Attorney, and in the meantime, you talk about, like, fucking pocket frogs or something.
Yeah, I'll be like, I caught another fly.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we get our final movie scene, where two characters are in a house scanning the room with a cell phone, and, like, the woman's going like, oh my god, there's a ghost there, and points, and the guy shoots, and she says, I don't understand, how can the spirits appear in the camera phone? And the guy says, the video must pick up their frequencies in a way that our eyes can't, which...
I mean...
is like an explainer, I guess, but, you know, with layers.
Isn't the bigger question here, like, why is the shotgun working?
Right.
Like, couldn't they have put the explainer over the fact that, like, the shotgun is actually loaded with salt, and also how the fact that these kids load a shotgun with salt?
Yeah, but, I mean, I guess because the purpose of it is to serve as an explainer for the phone thing in the full episode, that they wouldn't need to explain the salt.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Because they already explained it last episode.
So
2 episodes ago. So true.
Yeah. And also in, what is it,
Hookman?
Yeah. Yeah, Marty is really excited about this whole situation. And Sam says, like, you find out there's an afterlife and this is what you do with it. And Marty says, I needed a little jazz on the page, and then jazz music starts playing.
Are you for real?
Or jazzy-ish music starts playing, and it continues through the rest of the end of the episode.
I feel like I do not trust you to know what jazz music
Fine,
sounds
there were brass instruments in it, and to me, that's jazz.
Yeah. Anyway, Sam is walking towards the outside of the lot, and then he sees like what do you call this? Trailer that has Tara Benchley's name on it, and it's rocking. So she's having a fun time inside. And then as he goes to the door, Dean comes out and he's fixing his collar, and his hair is all messed up, and he looks so cute. And Tara Benchley is up there, and she's like smiling at Dean, and she's flirting it up, and she says again, "You're one hell of a PA." And Dean's like, "Thank you." And then they walk away. Dean like grabs a sandwich, and they walk into the sunset. Except the sunset is just a prop, and it's not real. So they walk towards the rest of the lot. It's a nice ending, honestly, for a very boring, very bad episode. It's not bad. It's not bad. I take that back. So okay.
The payoff of the plot being that it's just this guy named Walter who's just weird.
It's actually quite funny. It's actually quite funny.
But yeah. I don't know if it works. It's funny because it's bad.
Yeah. Okay. So what are your thoughts about this? You think it's funny, but because it's bad. I think it's entertaining, but not that much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fine episode. I get why people would like it, but I also get why people would be like, it's whatever.
Yeah, none of this is anywhere near as entertaining as the Sam awkward sequence in Maddie's house and Heart.
Yeah. None of this is as interesting as Sam saying, You're different.
You're
or whatever it is he said
unusual.
There. You're unusual. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Best line, worst line.
Well, we said what the best line was many, many times. Which was, maybe the spirits are trying to shut down the movie because they think it sucks. Because, it kind of does.
Literally so true. It does suck, and the spirits are trying to take it down. But what's your worst line?
Huh.
I have no idea.
There's no lines in this episode that mean anything.
Exactly. Because the bad lines are bad on purpose, I feel like, is what they're doing, right?
Right.
So they're it's tongue-in-cheek. So
right.
It's only a movie. It's my worst line.
So true. Oh god, I don't have a worst line. I'll go with yours.
A line that doesn't even exist.
Exactly.
Okay. Rating. So, what do you think is the IMDb rating of this episode? I'll go first. I'll say it's an 8. I think the references are lost to us, but I'm assuming they're not to the target audience at the time, which is who rates these things the most, probably, right?
Yes.
So, I would say this is an 8.6.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I agree that it will be fairly high for that reason, and also because the Dean girls really like this episode. But so boring. I'm gonna go with an 8.5.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, you're closer. It's an 8.4.
Okay. I'm glad that they agreed that it was boring.
Delightful camp. Not quite the much later episode, The French Mistake. Yeah, this reminds you a lot of The French Mistake in a way, right? This is the precursor to that. Yeah. But instead of just making fun of the industry, I feel like that more is making fun of Jared and Jensen.
Yeah.
Specifically, the French is...
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I just recalled, people saying why the French mistake is called the French mistake, and
Wait, why is it called the French mistake?
Should we cut this out? But like apparently the French mistake is a term that is like when like two guys sleep together and then like can't talk about it afterwards. And in the French mistake, Sam and Dean are like Jared and Jensen are like not talking to each other.
Oh my god! Right, because that episode does strongly imply that the people on set think that Jared and Jensen are sleeping together.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Extremely funny.
We can discuss that when it happens.
Yeah.
It's
just... Do you think the placement of this episode is weird?
Yeah. I mean, it'd be weird early in season 2, too, because John just died. But yeah, immediately after Heart is weird.
I mean, the next episode is Folsom Prison Blues. And then the one after that is, I think, is Dream a Little Dream of Me? Or is it like What Is and What Should Never Be? I think that's season 2, actually.
Wait. Okay, wait.
Let me see.
I think it's season 2 now. I think you're right. Which pisses
No, it's
me
What Is
off.
and What Should Never Be.
Yeah, is that in season 2?
Yeah.
Wait, that pisses me off. This is Sam's season. That's like, why is that like 220?
Towards the end too.
Like, what does that have to do with Azazel?
I don't fucking
like that, and it makes a lot more sense in
so
season 3 because season 3 is the Dean is going to die season.
Yeah. Whatever. Who cares?
Whatever.
Let's end this episode.
Supernatural.
So that's it for this episode of Busty Asian Beauties. Next week, we will be discussing Season 2, Episode 19, Folsom Prison Blues. Leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcasts.
Follow us on social media. We are on Twitter at twitter.com/beautiespodcast and on Tumblr at bustyasianbeautiespod.tumblr.com. Our official tag is BABPOD, BABPod, and thank you to everyone who's donated to our Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/bustyasianbeautiespod.
You can email us any feedback, comments, or inquiries at bustyasianbeautiespod@gmail.com. See you guys next time. Bye.